Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Leeds Bros. And it is the morning after the day before, as Leeds United were absolutely walloped 5-0 by Arsenal down in the Emirates Stadium. There's going to be a new segment on the channel, guys, where the day after each match, we're going to give our 5 takes from the game. As always, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. We've had loads of interaction on the channel over the last couple of days, guys. It's absolutely brilliant to see because that's what we want here. We want a bit of debate. We want your opinion, guys, as always, because that's what it's all about. Make sure you're dropping a like on the video and, of course, hitting subscribe to the channel. But let's get into it and let's give our 5 takeaways from our defeat against Arsenal. Number one for me, guys, has to be team selection and tactics. And this solely comes down to our manager, Daniel Farke. We've seen it all online. There's loads of Farke outers at the minute. I'm not there yet, but Daniel Farke did get it wrong yesterday, and he does have to take a lot of the blame. For me, my predicted lineup in our match preview got it absolutely spot on. I knew it was going to be that team. I knew it was going to be Joe Pirro starting up top. I knew it was going to be Ilya Gruev coming in for Ethan Ampadu, but that's not the lineup that I wanted to see. Let's start with Pirro first. For me, over the last 2 seasons with Joe Pirro, guys, we've seen he's just not that type of striker. And I don't blame Joe Pirro because he's just not that. That's just not his game. He's not a striker that the ball comes from. He can hold the ball up. He can bully defenders and bring others into play. He's just not that type of striker. So yesterday for me, it was screaming out for Lucas Meche. It was screaming for Meche. It was screaming for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Look, he's obviously not fully fit yet. Farke did say after his post-match that he is getting there and he is close to making his debut. So we'll have to see, is he going to be in the team against Sheffield Wednesday or the team against Newcastle? But for me, when you're playing against a top 6 side, you know you're going to be under the cosh. You know you're not going to have a lot of possession. When you do get the ball up front, you're going to need someone up there that's a bully to hold off defenders, especially that Arsenal back line of Saliba, of Gabriel, of Timber, of Calafiori. You've 4 big, strong lads, and you're asking Joel Pirro to try and hold the ball up. It was just never going to happen yesterday, guys. So, yeah, should have been Meche from the start for me. It was completely wrong to start Pirro. Although he did play good against Everton, it just wasn't his type of game. It has to be horses for courses, and Daniel Farke has to be a little bit more pragmatic going into these games and looking what players can do this instead of we've won the previous game and sticking with the same team. He needs to be a little bit more flexible and look at the opposition. The midfield 3 as well for me, guys. I knew it was going to be Gruev coming in there, and look at guys, I've absolutely nothing against Ilya Gruev. But that midfield 3 for me yesterday were very similar. We had very, very similar 3 players in there in Stack, Tanaka, and Gruev. We'd no legs. We'd no legs in midfield. We'd no boy. We really missed Ethan Ampadu. Now, whatever your opinion is of Ethan Ampadu, he was a massive miss for Leeds United yesterday. We've seen him against Everton. He gets stuck in. He gets the midfield going. And we just hadn't got that yesterday. And looking back on it now, and hindsight is always going to be a great thing. But it was screaming out for a Sean Longstaff, someone that, get about, hustle and bustle, bit of legs in midfield. We just didn't have it yesterday. We just didn't have that bite, and we basically just rolled over and let our bellies get tickled in midfield yesterday for me. Thought Tanaka was poor. Really do think Tanaka was poor, which, it hurts saying because we all love Tanaka, but he was way off it yesterday. So, yeah, poor team selection from Daniel Farke. Then you go into the tactics side of things. We're trying to play out from the back against a team that's been up there for the league for the last 2-3 seasons. We know Arsenal's press. Anyone that's watched the Premier League over the last couple of seasons, Arsenal press is very good. Very, very good. They're good at smothering. They're good at closing spaces. And we decided to play out from the back with a goalkeeper. We spoke about Lucas Perry before he was even signed by Leeds United here on the transfer latest that he's just not a goalkeeper that can play with his feet. And we kept giving the ball back to him. And you could see he was nervous. He put us under pressure and he unsettled that whole back line for me yesterday. So if you're going to try it for the first 5-10 minutes, let's see how you get on. But when it's not working, change it up. And that's where I blame Daniel Farke, is that he failed to see and he failed to change something that was clearly wrong at the back and something that was clearly unsettling our defence. So I thought he got that wrong completely yesterday for me. Especially then at half-time when we're going 2-0 down. Look at, they scored right in the stroke of half-time. You're 2-0 down. We come out the second half then and there's no changes made. And you scratch your head kind of thinking, Daniel, come on. We can all see it. It's as clear as day that this needs a bit of a shake-up and you're going out with the same team in the second half. And the inevitable happened then, guys. I think we all felt it. We can't be naive. I think we all felt it, that we knew that it could have been 3, 4 or 5, especially when there was no changes made at halftime. So that's my take from Daniel Farke. I think he definitely has to take a lot of the blame from yesterday. Wrong team selection, wrong tactics, and then as man management, he failed to change it when you could clearly see something was wrong. So he has to learn from that himself. Himself as a manager, he has to learn that against the bigger sides like this, we need to be a little bit more pragmatic. We need to be a little more defensively solid. And if the ball has to go, the ball has to go. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if Daniel Farke can change the style of play when we come up against another big side. Number 2 then, guys, my second take from it was set piece vulnerability again. again, and just before Arsenal scored the first goal, it was flashed up on Sky Sports that they've the best record from set pieces. I think it was 31 goals over the last 2 seasons, that they got something unbelievable. And I was looking at this setup from Leeds, and it was very much of a zone of marking where we had a three right in front of Lucas Perry. Arsenal had their three attacking from the set pieces right behind at the back post, and they just made a run forward. Timber free as a board, and he's able to just glance a header into the back post. And Strike is caught in 2 points. Strike is thinking, do I go win the ball, or where's my man? And he's caught in 2 points. And in that situation, you need to just go win the ball. You need to go win the ball, and he's caught in 2 points. So the set piece frailty was there again for Leeds United yesterday against a side with one of the best records. And again, then obviously Timber then gets a second one from a set piece as well. So it's something that Leeds United need to look at. Obviously, we're bringing all these 6 foot plus lads in. So you're thinking, right, this is something we're going to need to work at, attacking and defending set pieces. We've said it all through the summer. That's going to be a big thing in the Premier League. And it was just disappointing yesterday that we looked very frail again from them. So again, that's my kind of big take from it, is that we need bullies in there. We need people that are going to go win the ball, win the header first. We looked very uncertain from set pieces again yesterday. So again, another thing that Daniel Farke and his coaching team need to look at is set pieces need to be a lot better, because against them lower sides and them lower teams that probably will sit back against Leeds, they're going to try and use set pieces against us to be that little 1%er. So we need to be mindful of that as this season goes on. We'll just have to see how it progresses. But set pieces for me hasn't been great for a long time at Leeds United, and we need to do a lot better, because every time opposition gets corners, it feels like that they've an opportunity to score. The same thing with Lucas Perry. I don't think he commanded his box very well from the set pieces either. Look, it was a brilliant ball into the box, but I just felt he was left rooted to a spot as well. So it's a collective. Set piece, defending set pieces is always going to be a collective. So we need to look at it. We really, really do. Moving on then to number 3, guys, and I thought going forward, we lacked a little bit of cutting edge going forward. There was times in the first 10 minutes we looked very nervous, but there was times when we kind of settled into the game. The ball went outside to Dan James a couple of times on the right-hand side, and he looked very nervous. He looked like he just didn't have that cutting edge, didn't have that confidence to take Calafiori on. There was one time where he got the ball and he had a chance to go down along the outside, and he just decided to whip the ball aimlessly into the box, and there was no one in there, and it's cleared out, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, come on, Dan, back yourself. This is the big stage. This is what we've worked so hard for last season, to get back to the Premier League, to play against teams like this. So back yourself. And then he eventually kind of started taking Calafiori on, but it just wasn't enough. And going forward, I just think we lacked massive attacking threat, and it is one of our big Achilles heels. We've seen it during pre-season. Scoring goals has been an issue for Leeds United. We've seen as well against AC Milan and Dublin that we look defensively, we look good. The midfield trio of Ampadu, Staka and Tanaka look very good. But going forward again, we're just missing that little bit of star. We're missing that little bit of attacking edge. And it was obvious, yes. It was obvious against Everton. We should have won the game 2 or 3, in my opinion, against Everton. We lacked the cutting edge against them, and we were lucky to obviously get the penalty to go and win the game. So we need a little bit more in that now. Whether Okafor can, be that little sprinkle of stardust, as talked about, Bakawell coming in as well from Strasbourg, can he add a little bit as well? And then there's also another issue, largely Ramazani. Don't know what's going on there. He was obviously left out of the squad. Yes, we will get into that a little bit more in another video during the week as well about the situation with largely Ramazani. But I think that was a disappointing side of me as well, is that we didn't defend well, and going forward we didn't look great at all. We just lacked it. No confidence going forward. Lack of cutting edge. It needs to be better. It really does need to be better. And whether that's going to come in the form of transfers, another striker, it needs to be better 100%, because we're not going to get through the Premier League season playing like that without any cutting edge. And it obviously does boil down to the way Arsenal played, the way they defended as well. But Leeds need to counteract that. We need to find a way to get a little bit more of an attacking threat going forward. Fourth one then, guys, is obviously new signings and the bedding in period for the Premier League. Look at the new signings are coming in. They haven't played in the Premier League. You look at Stack yesterday, for me, not a great game from boys' standards from what we've seen of him during pre-season. From what we've seen him against Everton, he was sensational. And Goodmunson again at times. There was parts where he was good. There was times when Dolman came on. Dolman looked like he kind of had the beating of Goodmunson, which really frustrated me. 15 years of age is Dolman, but what a player he is. So there is going to be a bedding in period for these new signings, and also a bedding in period for the players that are already here. The likes of your Rodon, the likes of your Bogle, these players playing together, taking a step up to the Premier League. Of course, it's going to be a massive step up. So we kind of have to take this one on the chin as Leeds fans, that it is going to be a bedding in period for the next while. It's going to take time for the chemistry to grow with the new signings coming in, with Okafor coming in now, and we'll hopefully see more towards the tail end of this week. So it's going to take time. That's number 4 for me. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on it, obviously, and see what way it develops over the next couple of weeks. But for me, it needs to be given time. Moving on then to number 5, and this is a learning curve, a massive learning curve for Leeds United. As painful as 5-0 is, this defeat for Leeds United. I don't think we can put ourselves up against the likes of Arsenal. It's them teams lower down the league, and it's going to be fighting relegation with us. The teams in the lower half that we really have to pip ourselves up against. So this has to be a massive learning curve for Leeds United. It has to be a massive learning curve for the squad, for the board, and for Daniel Farke that takes us on the chin, is that we can't do this again. The step up from the Championship is absolutely massive. We've seen it over the last 2 seasons. Them 3 promoted clubs have struggled when they've came up, and they've all had defeats like this. They've all, and Leeds United probably will have another defeat like this season, but we need to be a little bit more pragmatic in our approach. For me, it needs to be a learning curve. You need to take the lessons from us. If some good comes out of this and we take the lessons, we learn and we adapt, well, I'm fine. We take it on the chin and we go again next week. But it just can't happen again. It really can't. We can't be that naive. Daniel Farke said in his pre-match press conference against Arsenal that we will not be naive. And we were everything like naive yesterday. It was very, very poor for me. We didn't set up very well. Our tactics were poor. And it just felt like we had the same sort of formation, the same sort of game plan as what we had in the Championship. And it's just not going to wash in the Premier League. So, yeah, look, that's it from me, guys. That's it from the 5 takes here. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, a little bit of a different kind of sort of twist on it. We'll obviously tweak this and, moving on the more we get into it. This will be important, guys, to get your feedback on it as well, whether you agree or disagree with me, because it is obviously about football. Football is all about opinions. There's a massive divide at the minute because we've seen all over social media. There's a lot of Farke outs. There's a lot of saying stick with them. So, as always, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you're dropping a like on it if you did. Hit subscribe to the channel and, of course, get them thoughts in as well, as always. So that's it from me. That's it from Leeds Bros. Mind yourselves. Mind each other. I'm going to catch you in the next one.